Thank you for joining us. Today, after many days' travel and many adventures, we will finally enter the Serengeti. We did so much preparation in figuring out how we were going to get to the Serengeti. And it's amazing what you can actually do sitting behind your desk in Johannesburg. Tracy and France and Rod and I had many meetings talking about where we would go and how we would get there. Rod had spent hours and hours working on base camp, plotting our routes. After spending a really peaceful night, Rod and I left the Catholic Diocese of Musoma really early and headed north towards Mugumu. We passed many people with bundles and cows and goats and chickens. There were donkeys laden with big bags, clearly on their way to market. We also bought some charcoal from a Madala on a bicycle. The bag of charcoal was bigger than him. We checked in at the Lamai airstrip at 10:19 on the 9th of September, so we had to check out by 10:19 on the 11th of September. I have a couple of notes. All of the airstrips dotted about have decent bathrooms, as most tourists arrive by air. Generally, you will encounter rangers hanging about waiting for their tourists to arrive, and if you find a friendly one, you can pump them for information. And as it's Tanzania, almost everyone is friendly. Ensure you understand your check-in and check-out times. You will be charged if you check out later than when you're supposed to. You cannot pay cash for park fees. It's all plastic. Public campsites are dotted about all over the Serengeti, and there is no formal booking process. If you arrive at a camp and you don't like the look of it, move on and find another. If you are self-driving a big rig, make sure you understand what the fees for your vehicle are going to be. Our furthest point north was 1 degree, 33 minutes and 57 seconds south, which I was very excited about. Man alive, the north of the Serengeti is resplendent in spring. Clearly a video does no justice to the clarity of the air, or the sounds of the wildebeest, or the hillsides covered in animals. Our first major sighting was some hyena eating a carcass. We could not fathom what it was, but the rib bones looked huge. There were lots of vultures and some fuglies, which are marabou stork. We also had our very first sighting of the Ruppel's griffon vulture. If you're enjoying our travels, please give us a like, and if you're new around here, you're so welcome to subscribe. If you have any questions, drop me a line. I answer every single comment. We crossed the Mara River and continued south. We were aiming for the Lobo public campsite. Following the advice from a ranger we had chatted to at the Lamai airstrip, we found maybe 30 tourist Toyotas and squeezed into a gap to watch the wildebeest crossing. The mothers and calves called to each other constantly. It was epically exciting to view, a real National Geographic moment. It's probably one of the top reasons that people come to the Serengeti, and of course also the Masai Mara in Kenya. As the migration is ongoing, you're almost guaranteed to see something, depending on the time of year. Factoring in your time and budget availability, it may be worth considering a formal safari. You might not have the flexibility of a self-drive, but it might be worth considering. We viewed a number of crossings, and it really was very exciting, until we saw a crocodile come floating along with a little pair of leggies sticking out of its snout. And that's when the reality struck home. This is actually nature working as it always should. We spotted a serval cat and followed it for a while, and of course there was plenty of jackals and leopards. The Serengeti is wild. Some of the roads are not great, and some of the tourist Toyotas drive like maniacs. But you have to go there and see for yourself the plains and the plants and the vistas and the animals, and of course the birds. We finally headed for the Lobo campsite at around 4 o'clock. We could see a huge storm brewing. We cooked and ate in the communal kitchen with the camp cooks and their young guests. It was good fun and it kept us out of the rain. The bathrooms were recently upgraded, but the showers are cold. Luckily, we have our own hot shower. The storm was spectacular. We woke up early and went hunting for a lion kill that had been reported in camp, and soon enough we discovered a pride of lions and half a zebra. We spent a pleasant day exploring the Serengeti. We stopped into the Serenera Visitor Center for a drink and a leg stretch. In the late afternoon, we followed a number of safari vehicles who were racing across the savannah towards the Maasai koppies. We sighted a leopard draped across the crown of a thorn tree and a cheetah who was clearly not impressed by all the vehicles. Another stormy night, this time at the Dik Dik public campsite. There were lots of safari tents for youngsters. The bathrooms were not great, but the toilets were clean and flushed. Early the following morning, after a healthy breakfast, we headed for the Nabi Gate. The road, the trucks, the safari Toyotas, the puddles. We did see many pretty Thompson's gazelles, but not much out. We checked out at the Nabi Gate and paid our $318.60 to transit the Ngorongoro Crater Road along the way to Arusha. I cannot describe the bone-shattering, teeth-rattling, death-defying state of the road. We had to drive at the speed of the tourist safari vehicles to maintain our gap out of the dust. Once we passed the Wildebeest Gorge Monument, we encountered many graders, which now meant we were also dodging graders and some huge boulders. We finally hit the Ngorongoro viewpoint and spent some time enjoying the view of the crater. Rod did a thorough check of the cruiser to ensure that nothing important had fallen off, and we set off to the Mingobani campsite, which was nearby. During our previous visit to the Serengeti, which had been a fly-in safari, Rod and I had been fortunate enough to spend some time in the Ngorongoro crater, and it is well worth a visit. Thanks for watching. We shall continue our adventures in Tanzania by traveling to the Arusha National Park and meeting some resplendent monkeys and a huge flamboyance of flamingos.